Hey everyone, Charan here. It's been a while. I'm back with a new time-lapse video where I tackle the first prompt of Nodevember. You can actually grab project files for free on my Patreon. You don't really need to sign up for any tier, but it really supports me to keep making more content and tutorials like this. So what exactly is Nodevember? It's a month-long challenge, kinda like Inktober, where artist gets 30 prompts for 30 days and you try to make everything using nodes. Kinda crazy, I know. You can use shader nodes, geometry nodes, compositor nodes, and even it's not just limited to Blender actually. People do use Houdini, Substance Designer, and also Nuke. Recently, there's also been a new procedural software called Instamat. So if you want to try that, you can also do that as well. The first prompt, like you can already see, is a pumpkin. I was contemplating on what to do with this prompt, and I saw CG Matter doing a fantasy pumpkin cart, so I thought I'll do a pumpkin house instead. The best part about Nodevember is that you don't really need to be perfect with your approach. The whole point is that you have a day's time and a prompt so that you push yourself creatively and technically using nodes. You'll actually learn a thing or two from every project. My first Nodevember was back in 2020. I was mainly a 3D modeler back then, and I found 2019's Nodevember result very fun, and I thought I'll dabble into shader nodes and started experimenting with vector displacement back then. When I started out, I had literally no clue on how to do vector displacement, but by day 10 I think, I figured out ways to do it on my own, just by experimenting really. Most of that helped me a lot with understanding vector math, and I knew how it works by knowledge, but I never really used it, so use cases really solidified my understanding. And once geometry nodes was added to Blender, I slowly started dabbling into that and started picking them up for work from the start of this year. So I definitely recommend anyone who wants to learn geometry nodes to participate in the challenge. Honestly, I don't think I will have enough time for all the prompts. I will try to make at least 2 prompts a week and breakdown video like this. Relax and enjoy the time lapse. I will share my thoughts here and there. Blender 5.0 added a new volume nodes that came with the new mesh to SDF grid and grid to mesh nodes, which is what I've been using for this project. Previously, we used to do it using mesh to volume and volume to mesh, but the new grid system helps with SDF modeling with nodes as well. I'll be using that method to make doors and windows for the pumpkin house. While working on the stem of the pumpkin, I realized I'm not getting the animation control that I needed using the built-in spiral node. So I was trying to make my own spiral setup, which has better animation controls. I'm definitely going to reuse this setup for future projects. I can also package all these node setups into resource pack for the community. Few life updates while I'm here. I completed my master's in digital effects. It's mainly a Houdini based course in the UK, and now I'm back home, mainly because of how bad the job market is at the moment. If anyone who is struggling right now, just so you know, you're not alone. But I was fortunate enough to find clients for freelancing. Most of my freelance has been using geometry nodes actually. One such client was being the Blender Guru himself. So you can find more of the work that I've done for him in his upcoming videos. I'm also working with Curtis on the new Baijan update. You can look into that as well. Since I was going for more of a stylized look, I assumed I can use the same volume meshing technique to create the base of the trunk. but I ended up with a better result by simply distorting the cylinder with noise and then smoothing the result using position smoothing technique. It's basically adding a set position node and connecting the position node to the position input and blurring the position. I used this to smooth the pumpkin mesh generated from the volume as well. Another node setup for the future use. All the materials are created procedurally as well. I am really proud of the trunk material. It was just distorted Voronoi texture with a noise texture and a wave texture for the top of the trunk. So for the door, I remapped a curve line into the door frame using a spline parameter and math. You can also do that with a spline parameter and a float curve, but I wanted the math-based control for easy use. Then I extruded it and converted it to a SDF grid and used the grid SDF boolean node to combine them into the pumpkin. The same goes into making the window, but I instanced points around the center of the pumpkin with Poisson distribution and then instanced the window object onto the points and combined it with the pumpkin using SDF boolean technique. I didn't really know how I was going to animate the scene, but I ended up deciding to make the pumpkin lively by adding an idle breathing animation. To do that, I simply scaled the pumpkin along the z-axis using the sine of the scene time to keep it looping. And to conserve the volume, I scaled it along x and y axis. I also used map ranges to control the values. This can also be turned into a node group for future use. Creating grass was actually very simple. I shaped a curved line into a grass strand along the z-axis using the spline parameter and converted it to mesh with another line as its profile. I also used a spline parameter with a float curve to remap the radius. Finally, I instance the stand around the circle node and randomize the scale for creating the grass clump. With this setup, I can quickly create multiple variations of it. Finally, I instanced them on top of the trunk and also the ground plane towards the end. Finally, I did a lot of tweaking in terms of presentation. My good friend Cartesian Caramel always says rim lights for everything, so I lit the scene using rim lights. Blenderify also comes with few compositing presets, so I was excited to try them out. Anyways, that's all for today. Check out the free and paid resources in the description. See you soon with more Geometry Notes tutorials and resources. Like and subscribe, and thanks for watching. Bye bye.